is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, Iran's parliament speaker has accused President Trump of using a naval blockade to force surrender. Trump retorted that Iran has no military left and must admit defeat as tensions reach a fever pitch. UN nuclear watchdog Chief Rafael Grossi revealed Tehran declared a new enrichment facility just days before hostilities began. Grossi is calling for the urgent return of inspectors to verify Iran's current nuclear status. President Alexander Vučić warned that the Middle East war is spiraling into a major energy crisis for the Balkans. Serbia is facing staggering fiscal costs to shield citizens from sky-high fuel prices caused by the Hormuz blockade. A stabbing in North London has been officially declared a terrorist incident after two Jewish men were attacked in Golders Green. Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned the assault and promised increased funding to protect the Jewish community. The World Bank warns that global energy prices could surge by the 24% this year due to the Hormuz shipping disruptions. Economists fear the resulting inflationary wave will be catastrophic for poorer nations. And in sports, American qualifier Haley Baptiste pulled off a stunning upset at the Madrid Open. Baptiste knocked out defending champion Aryna Sabalenka in a dramatic three-set clash to advance to the next round. I'm Franco Baranda. Newsline World starts now. The British government is escalating security measures after a stabbing in North London was officially declared a terrorist incident. Two Jewish men, one is in his 70s and another in his 30s, were attacked by a knife-wielding assailant in Golders Green on Wednesday. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned the assault as utterly appalling, promising swift justice and increased funding to protect a community already reeling from a wave of anti-Semitic violence. Cal Villan has the details.
The terror attack that shocked UK's Jewish community occurred at approximately 11:15 a.m. on Wednesday along Golders Green Road, the heart of London's largest Jewish neighborhood. According to witnesses and the community security group Shomrim, the assailant was seen running through the streets, attempting to launch at pedestrians. Two victims named as 76-year-old Moshe Shine and 34-year-old Shilom Rand suffered knife wounds before the suspect was intercepted. The Metropolitan Police confirmed that the attacker also attempted to stop responding officers before being subdued with a taser. The suspect, a 45-year-old British national, remains in custody on suspicion of attempted murder. Metropolitan Police Commissioner Mark Crowley stated the individual has a history of serious violence and mental health issues. Counter-terrorism detectives are now investigating whether the stabbing is linked to a string of recent arson attacks on synagogues in the capital. Starmer, following an emergency cabinet meeting, pledged that his government would strain every sinew to address the roots of extremism and restore safety.
It's our responsibility to coordinate the immediate response here to this appalling attack, to ensure security is in place. We do have to recognise the levels of anxiety and concern there are, that I know about, in terms of the Jewish community feeling very much exposed and vulnerable.
While the victims remain in stable condition, the psychological toll on the community is immense. Many British Jews have expressed growing anger, demanding that the government move beyond words of condemnation to ensure tangible protection in schools, hospitals, and on the streets. Reporting for Newsline World, Kai Villan, SMNA News.
A warning of terror for residents in Ghaziabad's in the Rapuram area as a massive blaze swept through the Gower Green Avenue apartments. The fire, which erupted on Wednesday morning, quickly spread across at least 8 floors, trapping residents and sending thick clumps of smoke across the Delhi-Meerut Expressway. While the damage to property is extensive, officials are reporting a miraculous escape with 0 casualties recorded. Vergil Parba has the news.
Panic gripped the Gower Green Avenue Society at approximately 8:30 a.m. local time Wednesday. What began as a localized fire on the 9th floor quickly escalated, fueled by high winds that pushed the flames upward to the 11th floor and beyond. Firefighters battled the blaze from hydraulic cranes as residents scrambled to evacuate. For those on the upper levels, the situation was particularly dire as smoke choked the hallways and internal sprinkler systems struggled to reach the height of the inferno.
माहौल तो पैनिक हो गया था क्योंकि लोग पहले अपने जान बचाने के लिए नीचे भाग के आए हैं और लेकिन उसमें माहौल में यही था कि भाई आग कहीं और ज़्यादा ना फैल जाए। लोगों को सबसे पहले यही लग रहा था, तो लोगों ने अपने जान बचाने के लिए घर भी खुले छोड़ करके आए ऊपर में कुछ लोग, और नीचे आकर के फिर फायर ब्रिगेड वगैरह को उन लोगों ने फ़ोन कर रखा था सोसाइटी वालों ने, तो करीब 10-15 मिनट के अंदर फायर ब्रिगेड भी आ गई थी। बट आग बुझाने में थोड़ी दिक्कत तो मेहनत ज़्यादा लगा क्योंकि उनको पैसेज मिल नहीं रहा था कि उस बिल्डिंग 9th फ्लोर से आग शुरू हुई थी, तो वो वहाँ तक कैसे पहुँच सके और कैसे वो पानी का छींटा वहां तक पहुंच सके, तो उसमें दिक्कत आ रही थी।
Over 17 fire tenders from Vaishali Sahibabad and Noida were deployed to contain the disaster. Authorities confirmed that while at least 8 floods had been gutted or severely damaged, the swift action of both emergency teams and neighbors ensured that no lives were lost. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has taken cognizance of the incident, ordering a high-level investigation into the cause. While authorities suspect an electrical short circuit, a common hazard during the current peak summer heat, a full forensic audit will be conducted once cooling operations are complete. This has been Vergil Parba, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
The global economy is bracing for a massive wave of inflation as the conflict in the Middle East reaches a critical breaking point. In its latest commodity markets outlook released on Tuesday, the World Bank warned that energy prices could surge by 24% this year, marking the highest level since the onset of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. As shipping disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz continue, economists fear the impact on poorer nations will be catastrophic. Loren Santos has the details.
The economic fallout of the Iran war is officially being categorized as a record-breaking disaster. According to the World Bank, the ongoing attacks on energy infrastructure and the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz have triggered the largest oil supply shock in history. The report highlights a staggering reduction of 10 million barrels of oil per day. With 35% of the world's seaborne crude usually passing through the strait, the disruption is causing a domino effect across all sectors. It isn't just fuel that is getting more expensive. The World Bank predicts a 16% rise in overall commodity prices. Farmers are expected to be hit particularly hard by a 31% spike in fertilizer costs, fueled by a massive jump in urea prices. Meanwhile, investors are flocking to safe haven assets, driving gold and other precious metals up by over 40%. World Bank chief economist Intermet Gill warned that these cumulative waves of price hikes will disproportionately impact the world's most vulnerable populations. The outlook remains grim. Experts warn that if the hostilities escalate further or if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed longer than currently projected, these figures could climb even higher. For now, the report serves as a stark reminder that the cost of war is being felt at gas stations and grocery stores across the globe. Reporting for Newsline World, Loren Santos, SMNI News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led the Joint National Peace and Order Council, or NPOC, and Regional Peace and Order Council, or RPOC, meeting for the first semester of 2026. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. presided over the joint session of the National and Regional Peace and Order Councils for the first semester of 2026. The Assembly gathered top officials from across the country to address pressing security issues and fine-tune the government response to local and national threats. The meeting served as a strategic platform to ensure that government programs are not just implemented but synchronized across all regions. Beyond reviewing the current state of peace and order, the discussions focus on reinforcing a whole-of-government approach. This strategy aims to bolster community resilience by ensuring that public safety is integrated with prompt and effective government service delivery. Up next, Iran's parliament speaker has accused President Trump of using a naval blockade to force a surrender. Trump retorted that Iran has no military left and must admit defeat as tensions reach a fever pitch. UN nuclear watchdog Chief Rafael Grossi revealed Tehran declared a new enrichment facility just days before hostilities began. Grossi is calling for the urgent return of inspectors to verify Iran's current nuclear status. And President Alexander Vučić warned that the Middle East war is spiraling into a major energy crisis for the Balkans. Serbia is facing staggering fiscal costs to shield citizens from sky-high fuel prices caused by the Hormuz blockade. More news when Newsline World returns.
Pagod? Nanunuyo ang lalamunan? O baka naman nahihirapan kang mag-focus sa ginagawa? Kapartner, baka naman dehydrated ka na. Ang katawan natin ay binubuo ng halos 60% hanggang 70% na tubig. Kung walang sapat na hydration, parang sasakyang walang gasolina ang ating katawan, hindi makakaarangkada. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang tamang hydration? Hindi lamang ito pamatid uhaw dahil nakatutulong rin ito sa pagdaloy ng sustansya sa katawan, pagpapanatili ng tamang body temperature at pagpapakinis ng kutis. Kaya't huwag nang hintayin pang mauhaw ka bago uminom. Ang pagkauhaw ay babala na ng iyong katawan na ikaw ay dehydrated na. Ang standard na payo ng mga doktor ay 8 baso ng tubig ang dapat inumin bawat araw. Pero tandaan, depende ito sa iyong timbang, edad at kung gaano ka ka-active. Samantala, narito ang ilang gabay para manatiling hydrated. Simula ng araw sa isang basong tubig. Magbaon ng sariling tumbler para siguradong may maiinom saan man magpunta. At hanggat maaari, piliin ang tubig kaysa mga matatamis na inumin. Kaya mga kapartner, manatiling hydrated para makaiwas sa mas malalang sakit at upang maalagaan ang iyong kalusugan.
Taon-taon, kwento sa bawat kwento. Katotohanan sa bawat katotohanan. Mula pa sa pasimula, malinaw ang aming misyon. Magbigay ng tamang impormasyon. Maglantad ng katotohanan. Manindigan. Sa lahat ng oras, lalo na't kinakailangan. Hindi lang minsang kinilala, kundi muli at muli. Sa likod ng bawat pagkilala ay katotohanang naibahagi. Isang tinig na narinig. Isang katotohanang umabot sa bawat Pilipino. Sa kabila ng nagbabagong panahon, sa kabila ng mga pagsubok, nananatili ang aming paninindigan. Ang pundasyon namin ay katotohanan. Ang lakas namin ay tiwala ng mamamayang Pilipino sa loob at labas ng bansa. Maraming salamat po. SMNI, para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas nating mahal.
Sa panahon ng ingay, sa panahon ng maraming tanong, panahon na para marinig ang katotohanan.
Sa totoo lang, ano ba talaga ang nangyayari sa ating bansa?
At sa totoo lang, handa ba tayong harapin ang katotohanan?
Sa totoo lang,
Dito, walang iwasan,
walang paligoy-ligoy.
diretsong usapan.
Sa totoo lang.
Sa SMNI.
A Firehouse Armed Services Committee hearing erupted on Wednesday as a representative, Rocana, clashed with War Secretary Pete Hegseth over the spiraling financial and human tolls of the 60th day conflict with Iran. Omar Forsuelo has more.
The halls of Congress became a battlefield of words as Representative Rocana challenged War Secretary Pete Hegseth's $25 billion estimate for the Iran war. Kana argued that figure is a gross undercount, failing to include the replacement costs for destroyed aircraft and the economic impact on American households. The exchange turned personal when Kana pressed Hegseth on the specific cost of the February 28 missile strike on a girls' school in Minab, which killed over 150 children. Hegseth repeatedly deferred to the Pentagon comptroller for financial specifics and maintained that the school strike remains under investigation. He pivoted the argument, questioning Kana on the cost of an Iranian nuclear bomb and defending the administration's military strategy. The hearing also highlighted deep rifts over the recent firing of top military brass, including Army Chief of Staff General Randy George, in the middle of the active operations.
You don't even know what the average American is paying. You don't know what we paid in terms of the missiles that hit the Iranian school. You don't know what we're paying in terms of gas. You don't know what we're paying in terms of food. Your 25 billion number is totally off. It's the incompetence. It's the incompetence.
Secretary Hegseth stood by the administration's new leadership approach, dismissing accusations of politicizing the military as fixing a culture of social engineering. Meanwhile, the conflict continues to squeeze the global economy with the Strait of Hormuz under a dual blockade. Experts estimate American households are facing an annual cost increase of $5,000 for basic goods.
You're saying it's 25 billion. Okay, I would just, if you come back, you want to revise those numbers because all the experts are disagreeing with you when it comes to today's dollars and damage, but you can revise it. How much did it cost American taxpayers in terms of the strike to the Iranian school where kids were killed? Do you have that number in terms of the missiles we used?
As I've said, that unfortunate situation remains under investigation.
You don't know how much it costs the taxpayer?
But I wouldn't tie a cost to that, to anything.
It's a reasonable question, no, sir? I mean, our taxpayer money was going there. Do you know how much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that opportunity.
I would simply ask you what the... you're playing gotcha questions about domestic things. I'm not...
You're saying it's a gotcha question to ask what it's going to be in terms of the increased cost.
Why won't you answer what it costs to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb?
I give you that, sir, but let me...
What would it cost? What would you pay to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb? What would you pay?
I reclaim my time. Do you not know? You had no one do the analysis of what the increased cost of gas and food on the American people are going to be?
As a temporary ceasefire remains precarious and naval forces maintain a strict blockade, the debate in Washington reflects a nation divided over the price of denuclearizing Iran, while Hegseth vows to fight until the mission is complete. Lawmakers like Kana warn that the true cost measured in both dollars and civilian lives has yet to be fully realized. Reporter for Newsline World, Almar Forsuelo, SMNI News.
UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi has disclosed that Iran declared a new enrichment facility just days before the outbreak of hostilities, calling for the urgent return of inspectors to verify Tehran's nuclear status. More on this from Jane Cagnita.
On the sidelines of the Non-Proliferation Treaty or NPT review process in New York, IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi confirmed that Iran officially declared a new enrichment facility shortly before the June 2025 strikes. However, the commencement of the 12-day war prevented inspectors from verifying its contents. Grossi revealed that access was paradoxically scheduled for June 13, the exact day the coordinated U.S. and Israeli attacks began, leaving the agency unable to determine if the site is an empty hole or a fully operational centrifuge hall. The IAEA chief noted that while the agency has satellite imagery of the Isfahan compound, physical inspections are required to confirm the status of Iran's highly enriched uranium stockpiles. Beyond Iran, Grossi is also negotiating a sixth ceasefire in Ukraine to allow for critical repairs to external power lines at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, warning that the global community remains under immense strain to avoid a nuclear catastrophe.
They indicated to us that they had a new facility to declare, and we immediately requested access to it, which was granted, actually, and paradoxically, access was going to take place on June 13th, on the day the attacks commenced. So we were not in a position to visit this place. So we could not say at this point whether this place was simply an empty hall or a place where already cascades and centrifuges were being placed for operation.
Grossi confirmed he remains in contact with both Washington and Tehran, but noted the IAEA is not a party to the current ceasefire negotiations. He emphasized that any future agreement must be built on something different than the original 2015 deal, given Iran's exponential progress in nuclear technology. As the NPT review conference begins, Grossi's priority remains securing the safety of facilities in active war zones and establishing a watertight inspection system.
Obviously, a war, any war, but in particular a war that has been predicated on the possibility of one country developing nuclear weapons, and then the review conference of the NPT coming almost immediately or very close to that, constitutes a challenge because, of course, there are sides in a war, and people obviously do not see eye to eye on why it happened and whether there was any justification for that or not.
This has been Jane Codniter, Global Citizen Correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
The ripple effects of the war in the Middle East are tearing through the Balkans as Serbia's President Alexander Vučić warned that the region's energy crisis is spiraling towards a major problem. During a bilateral meeting with the Swiss president in Belgrade, Vučić revealed that staggering fiscal costs of shielding citizens from sky-high fuel prices as the blockade of strategic Strait of Hormuz continues to paralyze global oil flows. This report. President Alexander Vučić did not mince words during a high-stake visit from Swiss President Guy Parmelin. At the Palace of Serbia, the two leaders signed new cooperation agreements, but the conversation was dominated by the economic fallout of the global energy war. Vučić highlighted that Serbia is walking a thin diplomatic line, maintaining its European path while navigating a world where, in his words, everyone is angry with neutral positions. However, the most urgent pressure is financial.
Koja god poruka da se pojavi očigledno je iz Bele kuće i Teherana, iz celog regiona, samo povećava cenu nafte. Najbolje bi bilo kad niko ništa ne bi govorio, bar se ne bi povećavala cena nafte. A ovako svaki put kad probaju da umire cenu nafte, ona ode gore. I sad da vam kažem, ja ne znam više šta da radimo. Mi smo već 25% od akcize odustali. Već imate 6 zemalja od 8 u regionu gde imaju višu cenu goriva. Ne znam šta više da radimo. Ne znam šta više da radimo, da odustajemo od svih prihoda za državu, mi se nalazimo u velikom problemu. Pokušamo da završimo i sa Ukrajinom i sa još nekima.
The Serbian government has already slashed fuel excise taxes by 25% to keep prices below regional averages. But with the Strait of Hormuz effectively close to 1/5 of the world's oil supply, Vučić warns that these domestic subsidies may soon be unsustainable. The crisis is exacerbated by the ongoing Iran-US naval standoff. Despite recent ceasefire talks, the U.S. Navy continues its blockade of Iranian ports, while Tehran's restrictions on transit through the strait remain in place, causing the largest energy supply shock on record. While President Parmelin praised Serbia's economic progress, he also reiterated that stability in the Western Balkans depends on the normalization of relations with Kosovo. Vučić, however, remains focused on the immediate threat of important inflation, warning that without a diplomatic breakthrough in the Middle East, Europe faces a winter of unprecedented energy shortages. The war of words between Tehran and Washington has reached a fever pitch as Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Ghalibaf accused President Donald Trump of using a naval blockade to force a surrender, while Trump asserted that Iran has no military left and must admit defeat. This report from MJ Mondihar.
In a rare audio message addressed to the Iranian nation on Wednesday, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf detailed what he described as a failed series of Western conspiracies to topple the Islamic Republic. Ghalibaf claimed that despite attempts to Venezuelize the country and steer ethnic separatism, the nation remains unified. He warned that the conflict has entered a new phase characterized by a dual-sided assault, a tightening naval blockade in the Persian Gulf, and a psychological media campaign intended to sow internal division. The speaker's address served as a direct rebuttal to President Donald Trump, who spent the day doubling down his maximum pressure rhetoric. Speaking from the White House alongside the Artemis II astronauts, Trump boasted of the U.S. military's dominance, claiming the Iranian Navy sits at the bottom of the sea and the Air Force is grounded. Trump insisted that no deal would be reached until Iran agrees to the total permanent abandonment of its nuclear ambitions.
حالا دشمن وارد مرحله جدیدی شده. دشمن میخواد با محاصره دریایی و جفسازی‌های رسانه‌ای فشار اقتصادی و اختلاف‌های داخلی رو فعال کنه و ما رو از درون دچار ضعف یا حتی فروپاشی کنه. این توطئه جدید دشمنه. بهترین شاهدم همین مواضع ترامپ که صراحتاً کشور رو به دو دسته تندرو و میانه رو تقسیم میکنه و بعد هم بلافاصله از محاصره دریایی حرف میزنه و بعدم میگه محاصره تا زمانیه که ایران بتونه توافق انجام بده. کاملا مشخص برنامه‌اش اینه که ایران رو از طریق فشار اقتصادی و اختلافات داخلی مجبور به تسلیم کنه.
The diplomatic landscape remains paralyzed. While a ceasefire was intended in April, the U.S. continues to enforce a blockade on Iranian ports, while Iran maintains restrictions on traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic chokehold that has sent global shipping costs soaring. Trump indicated that face-to-face negotiations have been largely replaced by telephonic communication, citing the inefficiency of long-haul diplomatic travel.
Militarily, we've wiped them out. They have no military left. Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. There will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
With Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi in Moscow seeking Russian support and Trump using social media to mock Tehran's leadership, the risk of the ceasefire collapsing remains high. As the second round of formal talks stalls, both nations appear dug into their respective positions, Washington demanding total capitulation and Tehran banking on divine grace and national resilience to break the siege. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihar, SMNA News.
over superheroes, there's a new furry adventures in town. Missy, a spirited Siberian Husky mix, pulled off a daring escape to meet her best friend, a daycare, arriving muddy, triumphant, and ready to play with her best friend, Shaggy. Stella Marie says the story.
It was supposed to be a quiet day for Missy. Her owner, Heath Rapsteed, had planned a routine vet appointment instead of her typical trip to doggy daycare. But Missy, she wasn't having it. Determined to stick to her social schedule, had other ideas. Using her keen problem-solving skills, she dug under the yard gate and retraced a familiar route to the daycare. She arrived just before 11 a.m., covered in mud, but undeterred. Once at the daycare, Missy was overjoyed to reunite with Shaggy, another dog at the facility. Witnesses say she immediately engaged in play, showing that her motivation all along was the simple joy of spending time with her best friend. The daycare staff were stunned to see her arrive all on her own, muddy paws and all, proving just how determined she was. This was not Missy's first daring escape. According to Rapsteed, the clever husky mix has previously slipped away from home, proving that her intelligence and determination are matched only by her social instincts. Huskies are known for their intelligence, energy, and occasionally mischievous tricks, and Mrs. Muddy Adventure is a perfect example of why these dogs are both beloved and notorious. This has been Stella Marie, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Long-awaited all-British blockbuster hangs in the balance as Anthony Joshua faces a must-win situation ahead of a potential clash with Tyson Fury. Meanwhile, American qualifier Hailey Baptiste pulled off a stunning upset, knocking out defending champion Aryna Sabalenka in a dramatic Madrid Open clash. Carla De La Peña reports.
As plans build toward a highly anticipated heavyweight showdown later this year, promoter Frank Warren has warned that Anthony Joshua must first defeat Albania's Christian Prega or risk collapsing the blockbuster fight against Tyson Fury. The proposed bout between the two former world champions, long delayed despite years of anticipation, remains conditional on Joshua successfully navigating his upcoming fight scheduled in Saudi Arabia on July 25. Warren emphasized that a defeat could effectively end negotiations, underscoring the high stakes surrounding Joshua's return to the ring. Meanwhile, Fury is eager to stay active, with his camp pushing for clarity on timelines as discussions continue over staging the fight at Wembley Stadium. Joshua's upcoming bout also marks his first appearance since a tragic car accident in Nigeria last December, adding further significance to a fight that could determine whether one of boxing's biggest matchups finally materializes. Meanwhile, in the quarterfinals of the Madrid Open, Hailey Baptiste rallied past world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka 2-6, 6-2, 7-6 to end the Belarusian's title defense and 15-match winning streak. The 30th seed showed remarkable composure under pressure, saving 6 match points, including 5 in the deciding set, before sealing the biggest win of her career in a tense tiebreak. Sabalenka, a 3-time Madrid champion and finalist in the last 3 editions, struggled to contain Baptiste's aggressive play, which featured powerful serves and relentless ground strokes. Baptiste fired 12 aces and delivered clutch plays in key moments, including a bold serve and volley to fend off a match point en route to her first WTA 1000 semifinal appearance. She now advances to face Mira Andreeva, who defeated Leylah Fernandez to reach the Final Four, setting up another intriguing matchup in the tournament. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carla De La Peña bringing you the latest